Hello, my name is Chad Hammer. I'm the invasive plant biologist with the Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry's Natural Areas Program. Today I'll be doing a presentation on an introduction to iMap invasives and an overview of iMap invasives mobile apps, followed by a later video of a demonstration of the key functionality of iMap invasives desktop platform. Before we get started, I just want to talk about the role of iMap invasives in the Invasive Plant Academy program. The invasive data that is collected by foresters and other natural resource professionals, otherwise known as FORPs, for the Invasive Plant Academy purposes, will be later bulk uploaded after the data is collected to iMap invasives. We will talk more about that in a later video. Also, and primarily, iMap invasives will be very useful when conducting desktop reconnaissance and planning to survey for invasive plants in your area of interest. Before we get started, I just want to talk about what is iMap invasives. And first and foremost, it's a central repository for invasive species data. So it's a data collector and a data aggregator. It's an online all-taxa mapping tool. So not only does it map and collect data for plants, but also insects, amphibians, animals, aquatic and terrestrial organisms. It's a GIS database, so you do not need a GIS account. You don't need to know how to use ArcGIS or GIS software. It just uses that technologies in the background. And it's also a network of partners, which we'll talk a bit about that more in the next slide. And it's owned, operated, and developed by NatureServe. This is a map of the current iMap jurisdictions. We actually just also included right to the north of Maine there, New Brunswick, just signed up with iMap invasives as well. So there's 8 or 9 paid jurisdictions that pay for the rights to use iMap invasives, and then the residents of those jurisdictions can then use that software for free. And some of those other, as you can see, some of those states like Florida, New Hampshire, and Vermont, and some of the other ones, they are actually inactive members. They just recently switched over to a different type of mapping software, EdMaps, which you may have heard of, early detection and distribution mapping. So I will say, when you do kind of log into imapinvasives.org and you are looking at the map, you may see more occurrences of invasive species mapped, aggregated around these paid jurisdictions. That's not to say that there's not invasive species in other states. There's just less users of iMap invasives in those states. So it's really important that you all set up a free account. And how you do this is you go to imapinvasives.org and then click on that login button on the top. And then you fill out this sign up information here and then select join. And for your jurisdiction, make sure you put the state of Maine. And the third step is check your email and confirm your account, so that you will get an email sent to your inbox, basically confirming your email and your account. So once you are have an account, and when you go to imapinvasives.org and log in, you will see this map. On the top left there, we have the main menu. And we have navigational tools on the left, action tools on the top bar, and then geographic layers on the right there that you can, a lot of options you can toggle on and off. And we'll be going through all of this in greater detail in a later video of the desktop demonstration. But I just want to introduce you to this functionality and these concepts before we proceed, because it'll make more sense in this presentation. On the top left there, that's the main menu. And as you'll see, there's jurisdictional species list. So you can see all of Maine's invasive species that we're tracking in iMap invasives. And also in the network species list, that everything, all the species in the whole nation that these jurisdictions are tracking. You can see projects and organizations. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but that's where you can see and view any project or organizations that you may be involved in. And also a request to join organizations and projects as well. That's where you'll find your account information. You can also view all the users and all the people using iMap invasives as well under users and persons. You can set up horizon alerts under email alerts, which we'll talk more about that later. And you'll also see the bulk upload option there. That's where your jurisdictional admin has to bulk upload your data. And again, just some of the more key functionality, you can also filter your records. So you can filter on observers, so the person that made the record or a species name. You can filter on different species. You can filter on different genus and kingdoms as well, and also different habitat types, growth habitat. So I'm sorry, growth habits. So like shrubs versus trees. And also you can filter on some temporal data here, so you can look at some different timestamp data, or maybe infestations before or after a certain date that maybe represents maybe a disturbance on the landscape or a flood or timber harvest. You can search by organization and projects, and also the jurisdiction of Maine. And I'll mention this later on, but whenever I do get in here and I am filtering data, no matter what I'm doing, even if I'm not really filtering any of this data, I always filter on for the jurisdiction of Maine, because I don't want to view Maine. And if you don't filter on Maine, it'll take a lot longer for it to queue up all of the data, because it will be looking at the whole nation. You can create records. This is where you would create presence data, create present records, create treatment records, and also create not detected records. That can also sometimes be useful if you're surveying for an invasive plant in a certain area. And if you don't find it, that's also useful data as well. You can also create multi-record searched areas. You can create a polygon, and maybe you're looking, maybe you have an area of timber harvest. You can create a polygon there, and then you have so you have a searched area that you're searching that timber harvested area, and you have multi-records, multi-species within that searched area. So this is a slide about the data confirmation process iMap Invasives uses. So they really use photographs to confirm versus unconfirm the records. It's really a way of quality assurance and quality control. So all data goes into iMap Invasives as unconfirmed data. And then depending on the species and the photographs attached and where this plant is supposedly growing in, all these records will get into confirmed status from the jurisdictional admin. For terrestrial plants, iMap reviews the data and confirms this. And as you can see here, and the pink is the unconfirmed record. So again, all records go into iMap Invasives as unconfirmed. And then basically a professional will review the data, review the pictures, and then decide if they will confirm them or not. So then you can see the green is confirmed records. So the importance of a good photograph is very important for the confirmation process. So as you can see here, here's a couple of photographs that a user had submitted, and it indicated that it's hemlock woolly adelgid. And the photographs are a bit fuzzy, so it's kind of hard to tell if it's without a doubt hemlock woolly adelgid. So therefore, clear photos are very important. So they need to be in focus and close up, and sometimes even have your hand behind or something for scale. You can even put a pen or a pencil in there. Again, something to show for scale. So in the world of plants, this was a plant on the left and right. On the left here, actually, is a plant that a user had submitted, and it said that was bush honeysuckle or invasive Marrow's honeysuckle. And you can't really say without a doubt that that is Marrow's honeysuckle, where a picture on the right there, as you can see my intern a couple of years ago, no, that's Rambo. But as you can see that it's important to really fill that frame, and you can say without a doubt that that is Marrow's honeysuckle. You can see those opposite leaves on those stems, those double round red berries, and those pubescent leaves. Who is iMap Invasives for? Well, they're really for anybody. So all of the residents of Maine, again, Maine pays for the whole state of Maine to use iMap Invasives. And it's really for anybody, citizen scientists, land managers, researchers, foresters, folks just observing the natural world. Again, that can kind of fit into the citizen science category. But really, anybody can use iMap invasives, and it's really interesting and useful for everybody. Just a little bit about organizations and projects. So they're not required. Actually, most users are not involved in an organization or project, but if they can benefit you, they're really a great resource to use. A lot of folks that do have organizations and projects are doing invasive species work, or maybe volunteer efforts. You can also enter in more detailed information into iMap invasives if you are involved in an organization. So you can maybe track treatment data, for example. So organizations and projects are just options for grouping your data in iMap invasives. Again, it's not required, but if you're a volunteer or if you're using iMap invasives for work, it's a very good idea. Now, how you join an organization or project is on the upper left-hand side of the screen there. There's that round main menu. And again, you can view the projects or organizations, not only the ones that you are in, but you can actually view all of the projects and organizations in your jurisdiction. And if you'd like to join, you just find it, click on it, and on the right side there, you'll see with that 4 next to it, you can request to join that project. And then the admin of that project will be notified that you were looking to join, and they will accept or deny your entry into that project. And if you'd like to create an organization, you can contact me, your jurisdictional admin, which for plants, that's myself, and Maine Natural Areas Program. Let me know, and we can set you up with an organization. So what can the general public do? Now, this is for folks that do not have an account. So anybody can just go on iMapinvasives.org, and you can see the map. You can only do so much. So without an account, you're not logged in, you can see confirmed presence records. You can see the searched area records on the map. You can filter on the map, but you can only filter by the whole network species list, and it's not so much tailored to Maine specifically. And you can't create data. You can't see treatment or not detected records. You can only see present records. What can a registered user do? So if you have an account and you're logged in, you can enter, view, and download presence, not detected, searched area, and treatment records. You can view both confirmed and the unconfirmed records. You can create email alerts on species and/or geography. So these are they're often called horizon scans. So you can actually set up alerts that you'll get an email notification based on different criteria that you're interested in, whether that's certain species coming close to your geographic location or your area of interest, or new species in maybe a county or a town, for example. So it's pretty useful. You can filter the map based on multiple criteria based on Maine's interests. You can also run reports. You can export tables and make a lot of neat figures and graphs from those tables, or just analyze the data. You can request to join projects and organizations. So, well, this is just kind of a recap on some of the iMap Invasives online mapping tool key functions. Again, the user accounts are free, and most features are only available to registered users. You can also use multiple mobile apps, so you can create presence not detected and treatment data in mobile apps. You can use the browser-based desktop for data entry for more complicated records, so more polygons, lines, tracks, things like that. You can keep track of searched areas and also treatments and treatment efficacy over time. And again, you can create those email alerts. Okay, so now we have an understanding of what iMap Invasives is and kind of how it functions and what you can do with it. Now we're going to start trickling in some of the functionality with the mobile apps. So this slide here is just really showing that there's two different ways to get data up into iMap Invasives cloud-based storage system, and is where basically the data is collected. So you can use the mobile app. You can collect data on the mobile app. The big take home here is that no connectivity is needed to collect data if you have the mobile app downloaded on your device. Now, as you can see on the right-hand side there's also a picture of a phone under the browser interface. And that is just basically saying that you don't necessarily need the mobile app on your phone. You can open up the browser on your phone, and you can go to imapinvasives.org just like you would search for anything else on the internet. But then you'll have to log in. You'll basically have similar functionality to what the desktop looks like. But again, whenever you're using that browser, you need to have connectivity or service. What's nice about the mobile app, so if you download the mobile app on your phone, you do not need that connectivity. You can just open up the map, and open up the app, the iMap Invasives mobile app on your phone. And again, you can be in the backcountry, you can not have service, and you can still collect data. And your phone will still know where you are. So a lot of these mobile apps are actually using the satellite receiver in the device. So all smartphones have a satellite receiver built into them. They're pinging to satellites all the time, whether if you have service or not, or next to a cell tower or not. So the mobile apps are really nice because you don't need service. Now, when you do get back into an area with service, that's when the data goes from your phone and syncs up to the cloud. Okay, so there's several ways for users to gather and enter data. Again, the first way is the smartphone app on a phone or tablet, and then you upload that data to the cloud when you have service. And the second way is collect your data on a data sheet, notebook, and enter the data later. So basically you're taking coordinates from maybe your GPS unit or a GPS app on your phone, write it down on a data sheet, and you can sit down at your desktop later and enter this data manually into iMap Invasives .org desktop version. And the third way, again, we already kind of talked about it, from the smartphone or tablet browser. But again, you can only do this if you have connectivity. So this is just kind of a review of the different mobile apps for iMap Invasives, and then their functionality on the left-hand side there in the shaded gray. So there's a couple different mobile apps available. In the dark green, you see iMap Invasives mobile app, and then next to that, iMap Online. I'm sorry, so these aren't all mobile apps. So that's the online desktop, and then another mobile app, iMap Survey 123. And the fourth one, the iMMA, that's actually just being created now. It's not necessarily ready for use in Maine yet, but it's being used in New York State as they're the ones that created it, and it's not available for everybody just yet. Still kind of working out the kinks on that one. But the big ones are the iMap Invasives mobile app and the Survey 123 app. And then when you compare that to the iMap Online desktop version. And what you can really see there, and I'll advance to the next slide here, is the iMap Invasives mobile app really has a gap on its functionality, where next to that, you can create treatment and lines and polygons on the iMap Online desktop, and you can do it on the Survey 123 app, but you can't do it on the iMap mobile app. So I just want to emphasize here, the mobile app is really great. iMap Invasives mobile app is really great for creating points on the map if you just want to create points as to where invasive species are present. But if you want to do something more advanced, as like record treatment options and create lines and polygons on your map for larger infestations and things like that, you really need to be on the iMap Online so basically with connectivity on your browser, whether that's your desktop or your tablet, or you can move into the iMap Survey 123 app, which is basically a more advanced mobile app. And as you can see there, the two mobile apps function without connectivity, or the desktop or the browser online version, you do need connectivity. So if you do, today we're going to be talking about the iMap Invasives mobile app. So the good platform if you just need to create points for where invasive species are present. If you are interested in the Survey 123, here are some help resources. So imapinvasives.org/mobile tools. When you go to the help page on imapinvasives.org, there is a category you can select or a tab for the mobile apps, and you'll find some help resources there for the iMap mobile app and also for the Survey 123 app. You can also search on YouTube. So New York iMap Invasives Survey 123. If you just search that on YouTube, you'll find a lot of great resources for using the Survey 123 app. Or you can email me and I can help you as well. Okay, it's time for a break. So we're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and I'm going to show you all about the iMap Invasives mobile app. Okay, hope you had a good break. Now we're going to talk about iMap Invasives mobile app. So again, this is the more simple mobile app. It's great for just collecting data on points and where invasive species are present on a landscape. And again, it's great because you do not need connectivity to observe and create a record for an observation. All right, so as I mentioned, you don't need connectivity to create a record, but you do need connectivity to do two things. You need to set up the account and download the app when you have connectivity. And later on, you'll see that we need connectivity when we upload the record. But to actually collect the data, collect the records in the field, you don't need connectivity. So you may already have an account, but if you don't, you'll need one in order to use the mobile app. And also sign into, so also download the app from the App Store. And it's a good idea to open up the app and sign in before you get in the field, just to make sure everything is working properly. And just to recap and show you again how to set up that account, the first step is to go to imapinvasives.org and click on that login button. And the second step would be to fill out your information there and make sure you put Maine for your jurisdiction. And the third step, which might be covered by this little video print, is to check your email and confirm your email in your account. And the fourth step is to go to your App Store on your device and download the mobile app from the App Store. All right, once you've got that app downloaded on your device, when you open up the app, you should see something like this, and you're basically just setting these preferences for the first time you're using the app. You don't have to do this every time. It does take, maybe 45 seconds to do this, but this should be the only time you have to do it. Other than that, it takes maybe 15 seconds to create a record. But when you open up the app, you should see the preferences like this already dropped down. If you don't, then you can select on that 3-bar menu on the left, select preferences, and we're going to set these preferences. All right, now setting preferences can be incredibly useful. What we're going to do is you should see this long kind of column of options here. We're just going to take it bit by bit and break it up into 3 sections. So this first section here, for the jurisdiction species list, make sure you put in the state of Maine, and then just type in your email address that's associated with your iMap Invasives account and your iMap Invasives password, and then click on this retrieve iMap list. That'll basically retrieve the iMap, the main list, jurisdiction list, and also your account information. And then once you click on OK with the green text that came up, it should populate your information, and you should see this next section here. Now, the defaults are more than adequate for most folks, but you may want to kind of tailor some of these options or these preferences specific to you, but you don't have to. But you can choose a couple different things here. For one, you can view the species name and common name or scientific name. You can customize a species list. So if you just maybe want to look at a shorter list of species that you're interested in, because when you do choose a species and drop down that menu, there is quite a bit of species there to kind of toggle through to find the one you want. But so if you want a shorter list, you can customize your species list. You can change the picture quality. You can look at satellite base map versus roads. I would say that road is probably better. It's going to take a lot less data to look at your map. And it's going to queue up a lot faster if you're looking at the road versus like real satellite imagery. There's a lot more larger files in that data. So again, defaults are more than fine, but you can play around with some of these preferences if you like. Okay, and for this third section, this is where you would set your default organization and project if you had any, or if you're affiliated with any organizations. Again, you don't have to be. And even if you were, you don't necessarily have to put the default organization or project here, as you'll have an opportunity to, when you create a record, to send that to a certain organization or project at that point. But if most of your records that you're creating are for a project or organization, if not all of them, it would be a good idea to put that project or organization in here. Okay, and then collect, and then hit save. And don't forget to hit save, because it'll save this so you don't have to do that next time. Okay, so now we're going to record an invasive species. So now that we've covered setting up the app and the account, now we're on to the recording process. So again, you do not need connectivity for this. All right, so when you open up your app now, you have your preferences saved. Now when you open up your app, you should just see this, and you click on Add Observation. And what I recommend or encourage you to do is you can practice by adding a fake species. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take bit by bit. So this first section, you'll see this, it's basically asking for a photograph. And remember, to fill that frame, get a nice good picture in there. You can, if you did set up a custom list, you can choose to view that custom list now, but if not, you'll just have the default jurisdictional list. So you take your picture, you find your species in this drop-down list, and then you indicate if it's a species detected, so if you've observed the plant, or again, sometimes the species not detected is useful information as well, but most likely you'll be doing a species detected. Now the second section here, this is where if you toggle on your GPS, your device will pin your location for you using your location services. Just make sure that the location services is enabled on your device. If you want to manually place a pin or enter coordinates manually, you would just check off that box. Now, note that if you did not have service, you wouldn't necessarily see those roads on there or that map. It would just be kind of blank, but your phone does know where you are, and it will tag or pin your location accurately. And again, on the bottom there, if those coordinates are blank, just check to make sure that GPS button is toggled, and if it is, make sure your location services are turned on your device. In the third section here, this is where you would designate a project or an organization that you would maybe want this record affiliated with. You can put in some additional comments there. And sometimes it might be useful information to put how long you would search for this species in there as well. Okay, and as far as recording the observation, you're pretty much done. there's one last step. Now you'll be syncing the records up to the cloud. So this is where you need connectivity. So maybe when you come in after your field day or you're back at home, you just can't forget to basically submit your records or connect them, send them to the cloud. And for this, connectivity is required. All you do here is you open up your app, and if you have records or observations in your device, in your phone that you collected that are not submitted yet, you'll see this right away. So all these entries in the yellow are basically records that are stored on your phone and not yet synced up. What you can either do is select them manually, or in that main menu, those three bars in the upper left, you can click on Select All. And then you'll get a text here. Are you sure you want to upload the records, the selected records? Select OK, and then they'll basically disappear. And once they've disappeared, then you know that they've been submitted to the cloud. All right, now that you've created a record and you've synced it up to the cloud, I'm hoping that you put that under the species name of a fake record for testing. Now what would be good practice if you were to log into your desktop browser version of iMap Invasives at imapinvasives.org, you should be able to find your record. And you can even go under your account and find and search your records from there. And it would be good to be able to find your record, be able to open it, and see what that looks like. You can even edit it before, while it's still unconfirmed. But then when you're done, then delete it. And if you don't see it right away, just make sure that when you're filtering, you can even filter your data and filter it on jurisdiction main, a species. You could put a fake species for testing, and make sure that you put confirmed and unconfirmed records, because your record will be unconfirmed for a while, and the fake species for testing will probably never be confirmed because it's a fake species. So make sure that you're also looking at the unconfirmed records as well. Here are some help resources that are really great. iMap Invasives has a lot of great help resources. You go on iMap Network, imapinvasives.com. Under the help resources there, circled in red. There's also a user manual there. There's a lot of great information on YouTube. New York Heritage Program has been doing a lot for the creation and the maintaining iMap Invasives. They're doing a lot of the funding for iMap Invasives. They're creating a ton of content on iMap Invasives YouTube for New York. So iMap Invasives New York channel on YouTube. And that's it. I just want to thank you all very much for your interest in invasive species and your interest in mapping their distribution. Please email me at chad.hammer@maine.gov if you have any questions or if you want more information on the Survey 123 app. And again, make sure that you tune in to the video and a later video that we're doing for this in this series, and it's going to basically be a desktop demonstration where we're going to map some features, and I'm really going to walk you through all the capabilities of iMap Invasives desktop, and we're going to do them together. Thank you.